Welcome everybody to our T4R podcast today. If you're wondering why I'm actually introducing it, well, John's not here today, but I'm here with Mary, and today we're going to be talking about keeping warm in the winter. So Mary's been talking to some of our members, haven't you, Mary?
Yeah, I have, David. I had the opportunity to talk to some T4R members and ask them about any tips they've got for keeping warm in the winter because, it's a really important topic, isn't it? And it's certainly turning chilly at the moment. So, the first person I spoke to was Valerie, who's a member of our T4R group. So I'll hand over to Valerie.
My tips for keeping warm in winter are to dress in layers. That keeps the air between the layers and helps you keep warm. Wear a hat and gloves and scarves. It's important to wear clothes made with wool and natural fibres and fleecy fabrics because they're the warmest. And when you're indoors, wear warm socks and slippers. Perhaps keep your slippers by your bed so when you get out at night you can slip them on. And don't forget, during the day, have lots of warm drinks and that to keep you going.
Hello, my name is Margaret. I'm part of the T4R scrutiny group. This is my tip for keeping warm in the winter. You should have regular hot drinks, eat hot food, and for example, porridge, soups and stews. I like chicken soup, which I have regularly. You can also have it with bread or a roll to dip.
I am Leroy Simpson, a Saha resident and a member of TR, and I am co-vice chair. I'm here today just to give you a little information about staying active during the winter months. One of the things that we don't do very well is stay active. So we would like to see everyone get up at least once an hour and walk around your flat, or maybe just stand up, sit down, stand up, sit down to get your circulation running. You may want to think about can of baked beans or can of spaghetti, and maybe every now and again, lift them to move your arms. So then again, right, you're keeping your body warm and you're getting some exercise so that your blood flows throughout that time that you're sitting down. It's really important as well that you keep your feet off the ground, because a lot of us don't have underfloor heating. So if your feet are on the cold floor, no matter how hot the top of your body is, the bottom will be cold. So if you can raise your feet, you don't have to raise it table high, but just get it off the floor. We're really good. A lot of us don't wear slippers in our house, but I think during the winter, it would be advisable to wear slippers when you're walking from one room to another.
Yes, hi there, everybody. Good morning, good evening, whatever time of day it is you're watching this. I'm Russell. I'm a member of the T4R scrutiny team, and I've been asked to talk about heating because it's something I know about through a profession. The best thing to do is make sure your boiler or your appliances, if you're on electric or gas, are well maintained and serviced with through Saha, and if so, that should be okay. If there's any breakdowns, obviously get in touch with them. The best thing to do for temperature-wise is keep your heating on between 16 and 20 to warm up the rooms. Or, if you do live in a flat or something and live open plan, if you do put your heating on, say, for an hour, if it's gas-fired central heating, your radiators will stop and your flat will stop hot enough for about another 3 or 4 hours. So you've got no worries about that. And just warm your rooms up as you need to. If you can only afford to heat one room. Because the valves of your radiators, you can switch them off or switch them on. Before you go to bed, if you want a warm bedroom, do the same in the bedroom. Just warm it up and let it warm up. But as with me, with other people, they like a colder bedroom. And that's everybody's choice. So that's the best thing to do. And if you do get too cold, obviously you just wrap up in a blanket. But the best thing to do is keep safe and keep warm this winter and make sure you are fit and healthy and everything is serviced.
Okay, thank you very much to our 4 T4R members there, Valerie, Margaret, Leroy and Russell, some excellent tips. I was just thinking, when I was listening to Valerie's, I wonder if anybody ever remembers Steptoe and Son. When Valerie was talking about dressing up with gloves and socks, it always reminds me of Old Man Steptoe with his fingerless mitts, etc. Yeah. But some excellent tips there from Valerie for keeping warm. And to be quite honest, I mean, when I was younger, I used to worry about image. Well, when you're trying to keep warm, I think image is the last thing we want to worry about. But that was very good. With Margaret, yeah, keeping yourself topped up with hot food is probably one of the best things you can do. And with Leroy, it rang a chord there. When you're sitting down anywhere for long periods of time, especially in cold surroundings, you are going to get cold. And if you're able to, I mean, obviously it depends on your physical condition. Obviously, if you can stand up and walk around, then do so, because your blood's circulating, keeping you warm. Keep your feet off the ground. Excellent idea. Put it on a cushion or a pillow or something like that. And his tip about using a can of beans just to add a little bit of weight to your arms. So again, you're putting a little bit of effort in, and that's going to keep you warm. Brilliant.
Yeah, I thought that was a really good tip, actually.
Yeah.
I think that's a good one.
Yeah, I mean, Russell's tips as well. Obviously, from Saha's point of view, one of the things we've talked about within T4R is maintenance of heating elements, boilers, etc. And just a sort of general plea for those people out there that are a bit more reticent to let Saha in to maintain their boilers, please do, because it's for your benefit in the end. So just, make sure they are well maintained. Keeping the heating on, people sometimes balk at that, saying, well, obviously if I've got my boiler on all the time, then it's using gas or electricity and it's costing me money. But it is a well publicised fact that if you keep your heating on at a sort of fairly low to medium heat constantly, once it's heated up, then your boiler hasn't got to work quite so hard to keep you warm. So in the end, it can actually be more economical. But obviously, we don't want to make it subtropical heating. So a little bit of common sense there, I think. And if you are feeling cold, wrap up in a blanket. Excellent idea. Some of these cellular type blankets that you can get from the high streets these days are excellent, because Valerie mentioned, if you can trap air in between clothing or blankets, etc., that in itself helps to keep you warm. A little tip from me as well, just a plea if you like. If you are deciding to change your eating habits, i.e., eating, as Margaret said, stews and porridge and things like that, just be aware that if you are taking medications, you should consult with your GP or your registered health professional before dramatically altering your eating patterns. So there we are. That's from me. Mary, over to you.
Oh, yeah, thanks, David. Yes, I really enjoyed hearing from our T4R colleagues as well, which is great. And thank you for your added ones. I just had a couple of suggestions myself. I was reading recently and thought it was worth passing on. One of them is keeping out the cold. So, sometimes there's drafts in our properties, that we can block. I think you can get little keyhole covers and that kind of thing if you need to, or maybe thermal linings for curtains if you need them, or the draft excluders that you get. I think my mum or my grandma used to make them with, like they look like a sausage dog or something.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah. So that keeps the heat in. Something else I read up was particularly around avoiding alcohol before you go out into the cold. Because although it makes you feel warm, it actually does end up drawing heat away from your vital organs. So actually, it's a kind of false sense. So particularly avoiding alcohol before you go out into the cold is a good idea. And finally, I just wanted to mention about checking up on the support that you might be able to get financially, government support. So there are winter fuel payments, there are cold weather payments, you may be eligible. It's certainly worth going to gov.uk/winter fuel payment or ringing 03459 151515 and they'll be able to help you. Of course, there's also your housing officer who hopefully will be able to help you at least to find the right place to go with regard to support, and of course our customer service centre. So please feel free. All those numbers and all those and the website and so on will be at the bottom of the podcast when we publish it. Yeah, so that's it from me. They're my tips. I'll just hand back over to you, David, in case there's anything you wanted to mention again before we wrap up.
No, that's absolutely fantastic. Yeah, I think you're quite right. The best place for brandy is in the little cask around the neck of a St Bernard rather than in you. So, yeah.
Yeah.
nice as it is, yeah, not a good idea if you're feeling cold. But there we are. Okay, well, I think that's probably about as much as we're going to do today for keeping warm. So, as a little plea from me, keep yourself warm, keep yourself active, and keep yourself fit. And hopefully we'll come through the winter months okay.
Yeah, brilliant, David. I'm going to say goodbye. Hope to see John on our next podcast. Take care, John, and goodbye to everybody. Thank you.
Okay, and it's goodbye from me. See you next time.